Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the maintenance that you need to do about halfway through the camping season. Now, this is not the maintenance you do in the beginning of the season, and it's not the maintenance you do at the end of the season. It's that maintenance that you should really be doing about halfway through. You know, the stuff that we always forget to do. So, it's not going to be a long video. I'm just going to go over the highlights, things that we should be checking halfway through the season, and let's see if it helps to make your camping season as good as it can be. Let's get to it. Okay, you can hear the air conditioning's running, and we're going to start right here. So, these are our air filters. This one has just been cleaned. This one has not. And that is about a month. So we clean these monthly, and that's because we do have a dog in here. Let's go ahead and take these apart, and I'll show you what we're going to look for on the inside. Okay, once you have that air filter off, you can take a look up here at your ductwork. So you can see way up there, that's our coil. And our coil still looks pretty clean, although our drain lines, which are here, are starting to get a little crusty looking. So we'll take a note of that, because the next time we go ahead and we clean these coils, we're going to go ahead and make sure that we flush those drains out again as well. So what you're looking for here is you want to make sure there's no obstructions. Nothing's blocking this. If you were to suck any of this, especially this piece of this insulation ever came loose, and you sucked it up into the fan up against that coil, then your coil, of course, isn't going to be able to cool the air as well as you want it to. So now that we've cleaned our filter, let's go ahead and put it back on. Okay, now that we've cleaned our filters inside and we've taken a look and we've seen that we really had no obstructions in the ductwork, we're going to take a look at our air conditioners up on the roof. And what we're going to do is we're going to inspect the evaporator and condenser coils, and if they're dirty at all, we're going to go ahead and brush them. Now, hopefully, the beginning of the season, you went ahead and you had them serviced and they were actually cleaned. Now, if they weren't cleaned, you may have to go ahead and do that at this time as well. Now, at the same time, since we've already looked at our drains and we noticed that the drain on this back AC is getting a little dirty, we want to go ahead and make sure that we flush that out pretty good. We'll use a little bit of bleach and water on that. Now, what if we neglect this? Well, our system could overheat, which could eventually lead to failure. And of course, you don't want to be camping somewhere and have your AC go out, especially if you only have one. Okay, the next thing we're going to want to take a look at is our wheels. What we're going to look at here is, first, the sidewalls. We want to make sure that there's no cracking, no dry rot, no bulges. And you can just look around the edge and you would see a bulge if a bulge was starting. Next thing we're going to want to look at is the tread depth. So the tread depth you're looking for is around 2/32 or so. They say you can take a penny, and if as long as part of Lincoln's head is still exposed when you stick it in there, you're still good. I have found that most times your tires are going to age out before they're going to wear out. Now, aging out, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about this little number right here. See, it says 21/24. So it's the 21st week of the 24th of 2024. So these tires are, they're just over a year old. And this one right here is 25/24. So these tires are pretty new. But basically 2 to 3 years in Florida, that's what we're going to get out of a set of tires. The sun is going to get these things before anything else. And I do keep these covered when the trailer is stored outside. So covers aren't on because of I'm doing the video, but I'll put them right back on. The other thing with this trailer is it gets moved at least every 3 weeks. We take this thing out. So we always want to make sure our tires are good. All 4 of our tires have been replaced on this, and just over a year old. So What are we looking for? We're looking for bulges. We're looking for dry rot. And we're looking for tread depth. Also, checking our age on the tire. Once these tires get to be too old, that's when you're going to take the chance of having a blowout on the highway. You talk about a ruined day. So let's take a look at the tires about halfway through the camping season. Okay, the next thing you want to go ahead and take a look at is your batteries. Now, batteries, if they were to go, and this is a dirty battery box here, that could really ruin your day. Now, these are just lead acid batteries, cheap old batteries. These at rest should measure around 12.7 volts. So you would check that with a multimeter. And you want to check that when you're not plugged into shore power, or if your power is shut off and your solar is not on, or you're doing it at night, because any kind of voltage input, whether it's from your converter or from your solar, is going to affect how many volts that system is. And here, I'll take you inside and show you what I mean. All right, right now we're showing 14 volts. So that would say our batteries are pretty darn good. The problem is our solar right now is putting out 54 watts into those batteries. So that 14 volt is actually being charged. So we're charging it to 14 volts. So that wouldn't be an accurate measurement. So that's why you do want to check it with a voltmeter, and you do want to check it without shore power and without the solar. Okay, so the next thing we're going to want to take a look at is our propane. So you may have one tank, you may have two tanks. And what you want to take a look at here is you want to make sure you don't have any leaks. So you take a look at all your hoses, make sure that there's no cracks in them or dry rot, back to the dry rot. And then come over, turn your tank on, and then just with some soapy water, spray your fittings. Now, if you've seen bubbles, you have a leak. We don't have any bubbles. Now, where else do you want to check? Well, if you happen to have one of these, you want to go ahead and check that as well. And what you would do here is spray the connections and also give it a little squirt around there. The plug is in, but if it was leaking, it would leak past that little plug. So we look like we're good there. The next thing is go ahead and run all your burners. Make sure everything works. Make sure your heater works. Because what can happen is you can get bugs flying in here and they'll start to make a nest. And we really should put a screen on that. So this is our furnace here. So we'd go ahead and check our furnace, make sure that runs. And then we'd go around the other side where a hot water heater is. We have an instant hot water heater here. And we would start that up as well and make sure that runs. Now this one we can easily open, so we can also take a look in here. We can see we got a lot of dirt in there. We've been on some pretty dirty roads lately. But that's our instant hot water heater. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is check our plumbing. So we're going to turn the water pump on and then turn the water on. Now if you listen, you can hear the pump. That's the way our pump always sounds, and that's what you want to make sure your pump sounds the same as it always does. Now, once we run some water, we want to take a look underneath. Make sure we have no leaks at the drain. And our drain looks pretty good. And then also take a look at the supply side. So you can see you get the red hose and the white hose. Make sure you got no leaks there. Now, since we're under here, if you take a look at that drain, at the very top, there's a cap. Well, that's not actually a cap. That is an air inlet valve, and that lets the water go down the drain so you don't get a vacuum. If you were to get a vacuum, if you didn't have that, every time you went ahead and flushed water, it would suck the water out of that P-trap and it would let the fumes from your tank come back into the trailer. That being said, if you ever smell sewer gas in your trailer, chances are pretty good that one of those caps is the problem. Now you should have one under each sink, and they do come right off. Some of them unscrew, some of them just pop off. There's a little piece of plastic material in there that is the valve. Sometimes you can get away with cleaning that. Other times you have to actually go ahead and replace it. But if you ever smell sewer gas, check that first. You know, when we're talking about water, the other thing that we want to make sure of, besides that our drains aren't leaking and the water is flowing out of the faucet, is we want to make sure that we have the cleanest water coming out of that faucet as we can. And to do that, we're going to sanitize our holding tank. Now, I know everybody doesn't sanitize the holding tank. Some people don't want to drink out of the holding tank. And to me, it doesn't matter if you want to drink out of your holding tank or not. You still want to clean. You don't want bacteria growing in there because you're going to go ahead and use the shower to shower with that. You're going to take that bacteria and you're going to aerate it, and it's going to blow around in the air and you're going to breathe it in. Can't be good for you, right? So what we do is we sanitize our tanks a minimum of 2 times a year. When do we do it? Well, we do it at the beginning of our season and the end of our season. Well, we live in Florida, so our season isn't beginning in the spring and ending in the fall. We go year round. So the way we do it is we go by when we're going to be sitting the longest. So if I sit for more than a month, I'm sanitizing my tank, I'm sanitizing my filter housing, I'm sanitizing my water softener, and I'm sanitizing all of my lines. So I'll go ahead and make a video on how we actually do that on our unit here so you can see what we're doing. It's a little more complicated than this video. We're just trying to touch over just a few of the maintenance issues that you should be doing. But you should be sanitizing that tank. Like I said, whether you're going to drink from it or not. And if you sanitize it, there's no reason you can't drink from it. We drink from ours all the time. And still here. So look for that video and sanitize your tank. Next on our maintenance list, we have seals. Every door, every window has a seal. We go ahead and we coat those at least 4 times a year with some 303 protectant. That will help keep this nice and subtle, and it will last a long time. While you're at it, hinges, lubricate your hinges. A little bit of silicone goes a long way. You can also lubricate your latches. Now, when we're doing our seals, we're going to do all the seals. So we're going to open up each window, and we're going to do each window. We're going to open up all of our hatches that have seals and do those. Anything that's plastic on the outside, you can do with the 303. That includes this apron around the bottom and our cover. The plastic on here, the sun kills these things. Now you don't want to go ahead and use it on anything that's plastic that's your windows, because I don't think that would work very well. But I'll tell you what else you can use it on. This cord. It's a very expensive cord, and you want to make it last as long as you can. You can use it on your tires as well. So you can really go around everything that's rubber, hit it with that 303, go ahead and wipe it off. Another thing that a lot of people forget about is when you go ahead and you wash and you wax your exterior, you can pull out those awnings and wash both sides of the awning, then go ahead and put it back while it's still soapy and wet. Let it sit there for a little while. You can even let it sit for an hour. Open it back out and then go ahead and rinse it and let it dry. That will really get all the material as clean as it could possibly be. Now, while you're doing your gaskets and you have these windows open anyway, it's a good time to go ahead and clean the glass. So you can do the glass on the inside and the outside. Now, we have screens that we can't really remove, so we can't clean the glass from the inside, so we have to do it on the outside. Now, the next thing you want to do is take a look around and check all your cabinets. You're going to look around in an Airstream. You're going to, of course, also look for make sure you got all your rivets, but make sure all your hinges are tight. Make sure your handles are tight. Make sure your latches are tight and in good repair. The other thing, if you're not using your trailer all the time, our trailer is in operation every day. So our freezer and refrigerator are always plugged in and working. If yours is not, now's a good time to go ahead and start that thing up. Make sure it works. If it works on propane and electricity, check it both ways. Ours is a 12 volt, so it always runs on 12 volt. If you have a microwave convection oven, check that. Again, with your LP, start the burners, make sure everything works. Check your fan and your light. If you happen to have an exhaust fan, now's a good time to go ahead and check that as well. Now, of course, that's going to shut off pretty quick because it's about to rain outside. So the last thing you want to do is just take a look around, see if there's anything that has changed since the last time you took it out. Make sure the floors are cleaned, because a lot of times you'll pick up little stones and next thing you know, you're grinding them into linoleum. If you have a propane or CO2 tester, want to go ahead and make sure that's working. And we know that this one works because it seems to go off at like 3 o'clock in the morning at least once a week. The other thing is our smoke detector, which works. Well, thanks for tuning into the video. Hope you found it helpful. And if you liked it, go ahead and give us a like. If you know somebody that could probably benefit from watching this video, and they don't have to be an Airstream owner, because this video is very generic, so it covers really any travel trailer out there. So go ahead and share it with all your friends. And until next time, we will see you down the road. Thanks for watching.